What's up, guys? I'm back today and I'm going to talk about skill in recent drafts in the NBA. We all know that the past few drafts have been pretty good. I think we can all agree on that. But I want to know why these recent drafts have been so good, and in turn, why the NBA as a whole is more skilled than it used to be. And before I start this video, I just want to say I'm not taking anything away from all-time greats who played in their generation. They're great in their generation, and I'm not taking anything away from them. I just think today's NBA is just more skilled, skill-oriented, and yeah, let's get right into it. Before I say anything about these drafts have been so good, and I have to find out how accurate this statement is, that recent drafts have been more successful. And try and prove this, I took a random draft class, ended up being 1998 NBA draft. Three superstars, Dirk, Paul Pierce, Fence, along with other amazing players like Mike Bibby, Rashard Lewis. And in this draft class, the top three picks ended up not doing so well throughout their careers. Before I go into depth into this, I want to say, in today's age of drafting, it's much different. Many of these players are already very mature, already going to the league. Many of the players are given a chance to prove themselves. They're also better in today's age because we know how the scouts have looked at this history to learn off of them, know what's going to happen, or at least predict what's going to happen. We saw this with Zaire Williams. He put horrible stats up at Stanford, but because of his circumstances, he got a chance to be drafted over guys like Moses Moody, James Bouknight, and a ton of other great players. We also saw Patrick Williams last year. A bench player at FSU goes top 4. Everyone was mad at them for 30 minutes. Then they realized he has the tools to be a great player. Joshua Primo, he played amazing in the G League the other day, and he's looking to be an amazing player. Everyone was mad when they drafted him. Even though the game was slower, I don't think these guys putting up less than 10 stats would be drafted in the top of 10. That's just my opinion. I haven't fact-checked that. You can fact-check it if you want, but I'm pretty sure top 10 guys wouldn't be below 10 points per game, unless they're center or something, just rebound-oriented. But in today's age, the scouts can identify talent better, also because they're putting more time watching the player. NBA analytics people get paid a lot of money for their opinion to say public, but also NBA teams have a ton more people assigned to making a good pick for that team. A ton of people are assigned there. And with all that being said, while the NBA scouts are better today, they aren't perfect in today's drafts. There's still guys like Tyrese Halliburton falling, but I would still say scouting today is better than it was in the 90s, and that's why most of the top picks are performing and most of the picks in the 90s weren't. Proof that drafts have been more productive in today's game, in today's age, I should say, that these new guys are averaging way more points per game as rookies than probably the 1998 draft. But that simply isn't fair because the pace of the game has sped up and these new rookies are given lots of opportunity right away, unlike some of the guys that back then. Like LaMelo or Ja as examples. Of course, there are other examples against this idea, but I think it would be easier just to go in for a few reasons on why today's draft classes have so much talent instead of basing it off points per game or something, because that's not fair to either side, in my opinion, of course. My first reason on why I think these recent drafts have been so good is because the great development programs and leadership of a ton of teams in the league these days. I'll start with development programs on the teams. The development programs on any given team in the NBA, I think most people can agree, they're more effective at creating great players than they used to be. Many late round picks are shining in today's NBA because they had the talent and they had the opportunity, they had the right pieces around them to help them succeed. And as far as leadership goes, there are many coaches these days that care about who you are, and I think that helps a player perform on the court. This is just my opinion. I think that a coach cares who they are as a person, and I think that helps their play on the court. I'm not saying that there weren't great leaders in the 2000s, because there obviously was, but in my opinion, the league has way more connections, way more coaches care a lot about your character, and that's my opinion. My second reason on why I think recent drafts have been so skilled is because of the opportunity given to all these players across the world. I'll start with America. America has given a lot of opportunity for a kid to be recruited to college and get himself attention. As far as international space, international scene goes, many countries are now focusing on the sport. The NBA has done a great job advertising their product internationally, and this has rubbed off on a lot of people internationally. The international players started with guys like Dirk and Yao, but these players have inspired the next generation. Many people China love the NBA. The NBA brings in a ton of money from China, and some in Europe. Like there's a lot of Europeans going to the NBA nowadays. Many people think people from Europe are now being looked at in the NBA, and multiple Europeans went to the first round last year. Every year, actually. Many Europeans go first round this year, last year, year before that, probably. And talking about Australia, Australia has got a ton of attention because LaMelo went there. And now scouts are looking at guys like Josh Giddey and other players in Australia and giving them opportunities. Many countries in Africa are developing and giving opportunities to kids to get noticed, especially since if they have the internet is a great opportunity for those kids, and if they have the time and resources, of course. My point of all this is to say that international players are being looked at way more by NBA scouts because there's a player that was there that played well in the NBA. LaMelo from Australia. Now we're seeing guys like Josh Giddey being looked at. Dirk from Europe. Now we see many players go to the NBA from Europe, including not Duca, Luca, not Duca. You might ask how this means more skilled and how there's more skilled people in recent drafts, and this is because NBA is seeing all these talents all across the world, and not just limited from America. I know, and we can have guys from Europe, we can have guys from Africa, we can have guys from Asia or Australia, not Antarctica yet, but you get my point. Like, there's a lot of opportunity for other countries, for players from other countries to go in the NBA. Overall, I do think today's NBA drafts are more skilled, but I also think the NBA as a whole is more skilled. This isn't taking anything away from the guys, all time great guys like MJ, Magic Johnson, but there are better scouts in today's NBA, better NBA development programs, more international players in the NBA, and overall better NBA, in my opinion. I wasn't alive in the 90s and when they were drafting, so I'm probably a little bit biased seeing these drafts in recent years, seeing all these successful players, and maybe the recent drafts can't be better because there's only so much opportunity in the NBA. But I think these guys in recent drafts are more skilled, are more mature, and are better prepared than players in the 90s. And that's just my opinion. What do you guys think about this? I know a lot of people may know today's NBA is more skilled than it used to be, but I think this skill in the NBA starts from the NBA draft, and that's it. Like and sub if you want, and see you next time.